Hello, Kieran.
Goodbye.
Hi.
Hi.
It's us again, back in the garage. We have just put the side stand on, which we created. There should be a video for that up on YouTube now. And we are moving on. We have some
Leftovers.
yeah, we got some leftovers from what was the office stool and later became the side stand. We have some bits left. So, this being an adventure bike, such as it is, or such as it will be, let me get this way. I need some way of carrying some luggage at the back. I have other plans for bags and things, things like that. But yes, I would like a rear luggage rack, not for holding a great deal of weight, but just for maybe attaching a sleeping bag to,
bulkier items,
or a small tent or something like that. So the plan is to turn this heap of metal into some kind of stand. So we're going to have a play, see if we can create some kind of a jigsaw related item and see how we end up. So the CG did come with the standard grab handles, unfortunately not a luggage rack. As you may be aware, we're on a budget here. We're trying to do this whole thing for £500 or thereabouts, and we have spent all of that more or less. So we are attempting to make one here. So yes, we've got the grab handles, and the plan is to use these as our anchor points, and we're going to create some kind of rack and weld it onto the existing grab handles. Now obviously, yes, they're not designed to carry a whole bunch of weight, so the rack will only be used for carrying lighter items. Here we go then. So we have created this little jigsaw puzzle. This is a rough approximation, as I mentioned. It's not attached at the moment, so you can see all the various different bits of stool. Here was one of the top pieces, and there's a leg,
hey,
and there's a leg, and here's a whole bunch of random bits that got detached when we hacked it. Yeah, so that is roughly the idea. So we're going to do all this by eye again. We're using the Mark 1 eyeball, no measuring tapes involved. We'll offer it up to the bike. We're going to start tack welding things and see how it looks. So we are very, very loosely holding this together on the bike, and you can see, or you can begin to see, what we're starting to create. Due to the angle of the handrails here, you can see as I come down that this rack will be at a sort of upwards jaunty angle, and we had debated trying to bend this and sort of flatten it out a little bit, but actually, considering it's just going to have a sleeping bag and or a tent or something on it, I'm actually okay with the jaunty angle, and it will save a lot of time and effort in trying to bend these and match them up and all the rest of it. So this is sort of what we're going to create. It will be at a jaunty angle. I am okay with that. Moving on. This is where we're up to then. We've done a little bit more cutting, a little bit of shaping, a little bit of prepping for welding, and a lot of eyeballing, and then a little bit of tack. Yeah, a little bit of tack welding. So this is more or less the shape it will be. At the moment, it's not held on to the handrails with anything other than these jobbies. What the hell are they called? Can't remember. Circlip? Jubilee clips. Jubilee clips. So they're held on with Jubilee clips at the moment, and we have the rough shape of the thing. Yeah, we're going to use the plastic jobbies off the
nice and tidy as they
spare
are.
legs on the end of there. We already have them there and there. We've left a little overlap so we can get hooks in and bungees and things like that. So we need to finish welding this, and then obviously we need to brace this in this direction and whatnot. So there's more to go, but as a rough start, that's a pretty good start. Unfortunately, I have to go to work, which sucks. So we're going to have to stop for today and resume this, well, I don't know when, but soon, hopefully. So
Tomorrow, definitely tomorrow.
no doubt in this video, things will be resumed in about 2 seconds, so bear with us. See, I told you we'd be back, and we are. It is the next day. It is the 30th of November. We're doing a bit more work on the rack. This is sort of where we left it. We've taken it off the bike, but it's just tack welded on at the moment. So we've got the basic shape. What we're looking at now is some of these pieces to go in somewhere like there and brace it. We'll probably do another one there. And then we are looking at something else to put on top, which we'll show you in a little while. But this is progress. This is progress. We have these cut, or this one at least. We've shaped the end a little bit so that it sits against the round profile of what is now, I am calling now, the rack. So we're going to get these tack welded in, carry on building the frame, and see where we go. Whoa, don't fall off. Tack welding complete, at least on that one. We're going to put another bracing piece in now, so we're going to flip it and do the same thing again.
Mostly there.
Hi Visman. Hi Visman.
Safety first, people.
Show us your rack. Nice rack. Well, as you can see, we've put a few more bracing pieces in. Everything is still just tack welded. We've not done the final welding yet. Kira's going to flip this and we'll show you. We've just...
Even more splodging.
Yeah, let's have it that way so we can see. We've just added some tent pegs here so that when it's the right way up and everything's strapped on, you can get hooked in here if you need to. Also, you obviously can hook under there. So there's lots and lots of places where you can actually hook something onto. I think I might possibly put something on here.
Some little nubbins.
Yeah, which will then allow you to tie things off, say here, without it sliding one way or the other.
Good
so
call.
I'll have a think about that one. But we're going to eat some pizza first, aren't we?
Boom.
Let's go eat some pizza. We're getting these welds cleaned up a little bit. As with the side stand, they're not the best in the world, but they are functional and they should hold. I'm just debating some attachment options. So I put the tent pegs on the bottom there to give me some options of attaching bungees or bits of string or whatever else. I'd like to be able to attach string and bungees up here. At the moment they just slide off one way or the other. So I've got the coat hanger that we used a bit off for the side stand, and I've just chopped a corner off it like that, and I'm going to put it sort of about there, which should give me some options for tying things off up there if I need to. That's the next job then. I'll crack on and get it welded. There we are then. Nice little attachment point. I've also taken the handrails off the bike, started cleaning those up so we can weld our rack to it. Okay, so we're back on the bike. It's held on with the Jubilee clips at the moment, and I'm just trying to line it up as straight as possible. Nothing is straight. The rack is not straight. The grab rails are not straight. And probably the bike is not straight either. So it's a case of just trying to do it by eye, get it to look as good as it can do. And then I'm going to tack weld the rack to the handrail and then take the whole thing off and weld it up properly. So I'm going to do some tacking. Well, I said I was going to tack weld it, and actually what I've done is fully weld it and clean it. So that is the final weld and the final cleaning. It's not perfect, as I mentioned before, but hey, it's not too bad. What I've done, as you can see, is welded the rack to the side rail, to the handrail, and then, because my welds aren't the best in the world, what I've done is I've smeared some metal epoxy putty across there, let that dry, and then I've just sanded that down just with the angle grinder. Just for a sort of smoother finish really, so when it's painted hopefully you won't see the terrible welds or anything. It'll just look a little bit smoother, a little bit less rubbish. So it is finished all bar the paint, and that is what I'm going to do now. I'll put the first coat of hammerite on. That can be drying overnight, and you don't really need to see that. I'll put it on the bike when it's finished and I'll show you the finished job. Ooh, it's like watching paint dry. Well, there we are then. We finally got that rack back on. It's been sat in the garage for about a week. Just haven't had the time to actually get round to fitting it, but the paint is dry, and as you can see, it's now fitted on the bike. So that's it. That's what I've ended up with. You might notice there have been 1 or 2 adjustments since the last time you saw this. Namely, I chopped this thing off. You remember I put this triangular piece here? I decided that when you're sitting on the bike, if you get shunted from behind, that was just going to shatter my spine, and I didn't really feel like that. So I've chopped that off, and I've just put a couple of little screws, I think they are, or bolts or something, just under there, just to hold on to the string or anything that I'm using to attach luggage. But that's basically where we left it last time. So there it is. It's reasonably strong. I think it will cope with anything that I intend to put on it, which will be not heavy things. There'll be sleeping bags or roll mats, things like that. So I'm pretty happy with that, considering we started with a stool and ended up with a luggage rack. I think that's a pretty decent job. So what's next for this bike then? Well, the answer is at the moment, I don't know, because we've been pretty busy. Kira and I need to have a get together and see what we can come up with. All of our ideas at the moment depend on what we're finding in bins, so we need to go bin raiding and see if we can find anything. But if you have any suggestions, leave us a comment, and if you like the video, then like the video, and if you want to see more CG stuff, or bike stuff, or car stuff, or any of the other kind of stuff that we do, remember to subscribe. It does help us out immensely. So goodbye for now, we'll see you next time.